About a year ago, I've decided to write down every single book I own on my bookshelves. I've decided to catalog my entire library just to have a better notion of how many books I've read and still need to read, as well as mostly the countries that I have represented on my bookshelves. I would love to have a more diverse selection on that aspect, as well as the genres of books too. And it was so much fun. It took me a lot of hours. I'm not even a big statistics person. I love seeing them. I love it when people share theirs, but I don't personally have a lot of patience to do that for my own collection. But there were a few categories that I did have a lot of fun creating, and those were mainly my read books, unread. There's also a space for kind of collector's editions, such as photography or painting books, which are ones that I will not necessarily read front to back, but I still like to know how many of those I own too. Then we have, of course, the author, the genres, and also the countries. That video still receives a lot of love to this day, and thank you so much for that. But today I decided to do a little update, since last year was not a big reading year for me, and I'm hoping to change that in 2024. I am feeling more motivated, so I want to do kind of a reset and show you how my collection is doing, as well as show you some of my priority TBR. I already did have a list of 24 books for 2024. But I feel like due to recent circumstances, I need to add a few more. Okay, wow, that is too close. Hold on, maybe not. Actually, the struggle of creating content. Okay, I think this is it. The first page that I would like to update, or rather the first category, I guess, is my currently reading pile, because I have started reading a few books and I cannot remember if I've updated that. So, to give you an idea, I recently started reading Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt, and this is my current Patreon book club pick. I've heard incredible things about this one. There are a few people over on Patreon who've read this one already and loved it. I know that one of the main characters is an octopus, so I'm looking forward to reading this and hopefully loving it. He is very sweet so far. I've only read a few pages, so no full thoughts yet. But if I do end up loving this, it will not be a surprise at all for me. I've also been recommended the audiobook, so basically what I've been doing is my favorite form of reading, which is listening to the audiobook while I also read the physical copy, and it has been amazing so far. Most recently, I actually started listening to the audiobook of All the Light We Cannot See, and this is because recently Netflix released a miniseries which was inspired by the book. I've actually tried reading this one a few years ago, and for some reason it wasn't really clicking with me. I'm not sure if it was the writing style or if I just was not in the mood to read a story like this one. It is set during the Second World War, and we follow mainly two different characters. One of them is a blind girl who lived with her father, who's now on a mission, you know, to hopefully help stop the war. So she's living by herself at their home, and with the help of her uncle, she's also trying to find ways to maybe stop the war. And then we have another protagonist who's a boy who was enlisted to become a German soldier, but he's feeling very conflicted about it. He was kind of forced into it. So it's a very complex story, and I am basing this synopsis off of the TV show because I just started reading the book. I'm assuming it's the same, but like I was saying, I tried reading this one years ago and never continued, but now I did watch the TV show and I did enjoy it. I mainly watched it because it has Hugh Laurie in it, and I love that man. Dr. House is one of my favorite shows, so as soon as I saw his name, I was like, need to watch immediately. So that's what I did, and I did like it, but I could tell that that was probably a show that was kind of lacking a little bit compared to the book, and it made me curious to read this one again, or at least give it another try. So that's what I'm doing. Let me know if you've read this one. I know it's a very loved book, so I would love to hear your thoughts if you did read it, and if you watched the TV show as well, let me know if you thought it was a good adaptation at all. And the final book that I'm currently reading is the first book that I started this year, which is Guards, and maybe I should have waited a little bit to film this video because I'm literally, how many pages? I only have about 20 pages left to finish this, so I'm still gonna put it on my currently reading pile, obviously, but I'm almost done with it, which is exciting, and I'm loving this one. I'm loving this one so much. And let me tell you something, I am sure I'm missing a lot of things here. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of the jokes and the references because Terry Pratchett plays a lot with language, and I feel like this is one of those books where the more stuff you know, just in general, the more you get out of this book. So it's a very weird experience because it's an insane world, and most of the time I was very confused, but the characters are so amazing, and the way he explores serious themes through comedy is incredible. I love the sense of humor here. I love that he uses words to make jokes. There's a particular scene here where a certain character said, "You're all under arrest," and the other one answers, "Arrest of what?" And it's scenes like those that I find so funny. I don't know, I just I love them. So yes, I'm having a blast. I am about to finish it pretty soon, but technically it is still on my currently reading pile. And another book that I'm about to start pretty soon is Burial Rites by Anna Kent. This was on my Patreon TBR jar, so it was a recommendation from a few people, and I always love reading their recommendations. So it takes place after the murder of two men. There's this woman who's being charged for it, and she's being removed to an isolated farm in northern Iceland to await execution. What an exciting journey this must be. So that's this one. Now, as for my 2024 in 24 books, I also have a separate page for it. Looking at it makes me really happy because these are all books that I'm genuinely so excited to get to. Technically, I'm reading two of them already, those being Guards, of course, and then Les Mis as well, which I started reading Les Mis last year, and I've decided to do dedicated reading vlogs to that novel. I've only made one so far because then again, it was right during my life slump, let's say, where I very much needed a break, and I'm hoping to get back to these vlogs as soon as possible because, first of all, because I love this story so much and I just want to share it with you, but then because I'm pretty sure this will be an all-time favorite. I am adoring it so much. Those two I am currently reading, and I will also update this list as well. I'm not sure which one of these I will pick up next, so if you have any recommendations, let me know. I can tell you that it probably will not be any of the huge classics here. But anyway, I do have a Thomas Hardy here, and this was before Milena and I had decided to create the Readalong. In case you don't know, I'm hosting a Thomas Hardy Readalong with Milena, and we do have a few options for the Readalong already, but the first one we will read will be Jude the Obscure. So I think the only one that I will change here, just because I'm not sure we are going to get to this one this year, although it is on the list for the future, I think I'm gonna change it and just write down Jude the Obscure, because that one we will read for sure. So that's a little update on the list. If you want to know more details to that, I will leave that in the description, but I will also create a little page for the read-along as well, just to keep track of what books we read and when. But before that, I need to add a little bonus here, because recently my best friend, with no agenda whatsoever, was very sweet and she gifted me a book for Valentine's Day. Hello friends, I look absolutely gross. I'm having the craziest day today, but I just got a package and I've got no idea what this is. We're just gonna find out together, shall we? It's a big hardback. What is this? Wait, hold on. Wait. If I'm right, this is hilarious. I'm not sure I'm right though. Okay, this is a hardback of Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. If this was my friend who sent this to me with a huge agenda for me to read it because she's been obsessed with it. Oh no, I cannot believe this doesn't have a note. Wait, hold on. It doesn't have a note. No! No! Okay, I'm gonna message her. This is stunning. It is beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have no idea how I'm gonna feel about this book. But this is hilarious. Cause I think it might have been her. Because she's been so obsessed with this book and she keeps asking me to read it. And I'm like, of course I'll read it. I read it for you because, you know, you're my best friend and I love you and I want to do nice things for you. So I will read it for you. But I don't know how I'm going to feel about this one, honestly. I don't know. I know Milena has read it recently as well and she loved it. So there's hope for me. But anyway, thank you to the person who sent me this. This was such a huge surprise. What? I'm very happy I own it though. I might as well read it sooner than later. She's adorable. And she gifted me, of course, the book that she wants me to read the most. Because it is her new obsession. And I feel like a lot of people's new obsession. And that is none other, of course, than Fourth Wing. And let me tell you something. If I do not read this book this year, that girl will kill me. So, if you would like for me to stick around a bit more, then you need to make sure that I read this book this year. So I'm gonna add a little extra here with a note as well, saying if I don't read this, my friend kills me. So, or at least our friendship is over. So Fourth Wing it is, as a little extra. I will change this after. But yeah, so technically we have 25 books. But it needs to be done. It needs to be done. So if you're watching this, I hope you're happy. I am thinking of you. This is currently an option for our Patreon book club as well. I'm not sure it will win, but so far we have a tie and this is one of the big contenders. So we'll see, I might be reading this one very soon and filming a whole dedicated reading vlog to it. That would be very funny. I really hope I don't hate this one. So now what I'll do is to create a little page for the Thomas Hardy read-along. I still will not have a lot of details because we are not planning the books ahead. We have a list of possibilities of course, some of these major novels that we are interested in, but we don't yet have a schedule for all of them. So for now, I'm just going to write down Jude the Obscure and say it will be for spring 2024. We also don't have an end date for the read-along either. It just depends on how many books we end up reading. Doing this is precisely to look at every single one of my books and get excited all over again. I like to look at each one of these stories as a treasure that I still need to find and explore and hopefully fall in love with. And something else that I often think about, I've never actually checked this or counted, maybe I should, but I'm pretty sure that pretty much, if not 50%, then very close to that, very close to 50% of all of this collection is gifted. So very kind friends, family, and some of you, a lot of you actually, were very generous to send me books and gift me with this beautiful collection, which it's just insane to me, but what a privilege it is, what an amazing thing that is. With all that said though, let's take a look at how my collection this year, at this point of the year, compares to last year's at around the same point. So according to my previous video, in total I owned 712 books, which then again is a lot and could only be possible by so many other people's generosity, as well as time, obviously. This is not a collection that I started last year. It has been growing for the past decade or so, I would say. We had 5 current reads at the time, 49 special editions, what I like to call them, and then for read books we had 278 and then 380 unread books. I'm really not sure about how things have changed or not. Then again, because last year was so awful in terms of reading as well, I'm not sure if these numbers have changed much. I haven't looked at this at all since last year, so this will be just as much of a surprise for me as well as for you. First of all, as for the amount of books that I own, we have 776, so a bit more than last year. I have acquired a few books as well as unhauled a few others. That's 64 more books. As for the current reads, it's exactly the same. We have 5 going on, so that's kind of funny. For the special editions, we have 51, so no major changes on that aspect at all. As for my read books, I'm not sure how this is gonna go. It's probably a bit different, not only because of the books that I've read, but also because I have unhauled a lot of books, and I don't usually unhaul books until I read them. Most of the time I give them a try first, and then I see if I'm interested in keeping them or not. I either donate them or go to a thrifted bookstore and get some credit there. So I unhauled a few. I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but let's see. Apparently I have 306 books read, so it still increased a little bit, which makes sense, but not as much compared to the amount of books that I've read, precisely because of all of those unhauls. As for the unread pile, it is of course a bit higher, and we have 414 books. So that means 414 books that I still have to get lost in, which is amazing. And I know a lot of people have this goal of reducing their TBR to almost zero, which I find fascinating, honestly, and I love seeing people doing those challenges. It is always so much fun, and I think it is a great goal to have, but I personally don't feel like I would ever want to do that. Obviously, I do want to lower this number this year, of course. That would mean that I've read more, just like I want to, but I don't think I will ever have the goal to exactly lower my TBR to the point where I almost have no options. I like the idea of looking at my bookshelves and have many different options from many different genres, which then again, it's a huge privilege, and I'm very well aware of that. I did also give this disclaimer on my previous video, but I will say it again, it really doesn't matter what your book collection looks like. This is not made to make people feel bad for only less books than me or more. That does not make any sense. We are all different people, we are all different readers with different possibilities, of course, but also different tastes and different everything, different experiences, and every single one of those is valid. I love having a big library. I know not everyone does and not everyone can. I wish everyone in the world would have that possibility if they wanted to, of course. So I truly treasure it, I truly cherish it as something that is really precious to me. I've also checked to see if there were any more changes apart from the number of books. As for the genres, nothing much has changed, so I haven't really updated that page. As for the countries, we had 46 last year, and this year we are starting with 48, adding South Africa and Finland to the list. This is something that I want to keep improving on. I do want to read more books from around the world, so if you have any recommendations from any countries that you do not see here, please let me know. I would happily add them to the list. This is where we are now, and I have so many stories to get lost in, which is magical, something to be thankful for. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, this little update on my library, which then again makes me so happy. And if you've seen any books on my shelves, either on this video or any others that you would like me to read or you think I should prioritize, I always ask this, but I mean it. If you have any thoughts, please feel free to share them. I always love hearing your opinion. Even if I am a slow reader, I do intend to get to all of these books. I never establish a numeric goal necessarily because it's not something that I personally enjoy, but I will of course try to lower the number and read a bit more this year. Not because of the number goal, because then again, it doesn't really matter to me, but I would love to come to the end of 2024 and feel like it was a better reading year for me. I've also done a video on some goals that I have for this year to hopefully make me feel that motivation and excitement about reading more again, because it is truly, genuinely something that I love so much. It just kind of got lost a little bit throughout last year and even the year before that. So cheers to changing that this year. Thank you all so much for being here, for watching this video. Let me know if you are currently reading anything exciting, if you also have priorities for this year, if you also wrote down every single book that you own. Please let me know, because this is so much work, but it's so much fun in the end. I'm sending you all a big hug, and I will hopefully see you all very soon on my next video. Bye everyone!